hello, and welcome to Pique My Interest, a podcast dedicated to creativity. My name is Scoob Decker, and I am an artist, and your host. Pique My Interest is an exploration in meeting some incredible artists, learning about their craft and exploring what makes them create. Using her experiences in the culinary arts, and as a master taste tester, this next artist wanted to create a decadent and wonderful ice cream that Grandma loves. Tamara Keefe is the mastermind behind Clementine's Ice Cream. Based in St. Louis, she creates the most thick, creamy, and delicious ice cream, specializing with spectacular flavor combinations, non-dairy options, as well as a naughty series, which is the amazing ice cream with a boozy twist. She encourages you to take the 15-minute vacation and try all the Clementine's flavors at any parlor, or even get it mailed. This episode dives into her ice cream journey, including the requirements to become a micro-creamery. She explains that she is successful as an artist because she controls her own destiny. Even though making ice cream is laborious and managing a company is difficult, this is where she belongs and feels like she can make an impact. Tamara also shares her touching story of you never know where someone is coming from and why they are there, and the emotional impact of her ice cream. This episode was recorded on January 31st in St. Louis, Missouri. I hope you look up her work and your interest is piqued. I hope you're having a grand day, and please enjoy this week's episode I've titled, The Frozen Flavor Temptress. Hello, and welcome to Pique My Interest. I'm currently in this amazing studio / warehouse / factory / office of this amazing company with this incredible artist. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic, thank you.
Amazing. Have you done anything interesting lately?
Yes, in fact, I was making ice cream a little bit earlier today and having a lot of fun doing so.
Fantastic. And I know you are full of meetings and a busy, busy gal, and I can't thank you enough for making time out of your day to meet with us. But please introduce yourself. What is your name and where are you from?
My name is Tamara Keefe, otherwise known as the Flavor Temptress of Clementine's Ice Cream, based here in St. Louis, Missouri.
Fantastic. And you're not from St. Louis?
I'm not from St. Louis. I am from Southern California, but I was a transplant here in 2008, and I've been here so long now I feel like I'm a local.
Fantastic. And your craft is ice cream.
Indeed.
What is your specialty within ice cream?
Well, we have a couple of specialties. So one, we're one of a handful of micro creameries in the country. Two, we make naughty ice cream. I have a trade secret process for infusing alcohol into ice cream. So I make ice cream in the wonderful views of wonderful cocktails. And we were the first ice cream company in the United States to make a vegan non-dairy ice cream at mass scale for the non-dairy and vegan market over 10 years ago.
The owner and creator of Clementine's Ice Cream, based in St. Louis, Missouri. I am so excited to be here with you.
Thank you.
I love ice cream. If anybody knows, instead of cake at our wedding, Lizzie and I had ice cream, and we love it. We love exploring all the ice creams and exploring all the flavors, and just can't wait to dive into your creation process as the creator of Clementine's. I just got to ask, where did the name Clementine's come from?
So Clementine was my grandmother's best friend. And so I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, my grandmother and most grandmothers looked kind of the same. They had this head of permed hair that was like a helmet, and their head moved and their hair followed, and they wore these jumpsuits and these thick foamy shoes. All grandmas looked like that, with the exception of Clementine. Clementine had long silver hair. She wore bright red lipstick, very glamorous. She wore high heels, and she wore these little dresses everywhere. I thought she was the most elegant creature I had ever seen. And so I grew up thinking someday I'm going to have a little girl, and she was going to be just like Clementine. Well, I have not been blessed in this life with children. And so when I birthed my ice cream company, Clementine's was my baby.
Fantastic.
And hence clementines came into existence.
And I have to say, I have had some recently, and it is the creamiest, most tastiest ice cream I've had. And I just want to thank you for pursuing that craft. I'm sure we're going to get into your whole transition from your past career, but I want to know, what is it about clementines that separates itself from other ice creams? What makes it different than other ice cream?
Well, I think when you think about a microcreamery, if you really think about what that is, that's what makes us different. So think of microbrewery for beer, but for ice cream. So there are 5 qualifications that you have to meet in order to be considered a microcreamery. 1, it has to be small batch, meaning a real person stands in front of the machine, as you saw, and they make it. 2, everything in the ice cream has to be handcrafted. So if there's a pie, cake, or cookie, we make it, bake it, put it in it. We salt our own caramels, we candy our own pecans. As you saw, like, we do it all. 3, in order to be a microcreamery, you have to be all natural. We are the only all natural ice cream maker in the state of Missouri, and actually within the surrounding 5 states. Wow. So nothing artificial goes into my product. No artificial fillers, emulsifiers, colors, anything, right? 4, in order to be a microcreamery, you have to have less than 30% overrun in your ice cream. Now, overrun is a technical term. That's the amount of air that's whipped into the ice cream, right? So most ice creams that you get in most parlors and most everything in the grocery store is 100% overrun, meaning when you get that pint of ice cream, it's actually only 50% ice cream and the rest is air. And they call that 100% overrun. And companies do that and places do that because the more air you pump into it, the more volume of product you get out. So if you've ever had that ice cream cone where you walk out and it melts instantly, it's because they've pumped it full of air. And so they want you to feel like you're getting more or better or bigger, but it's just really all air. It's like whipping cream. They're frozen whipping
cheating.
They are cheating. They are cheating, those bastards. And so then last but not least, the 5th component to being a microcreamery comes down to butterfat. In order to be a microcreamer, you have to have more than 16% butterfat in your ice cream. In contrast, everything in the grocery store is about 10 to 12%, right? But it's the butterfat that carries the flavor and what makes the ice cream so creamy and decadent. Yeah. But it's expensive, right? It's an expensive ingredient to get, and it's an expensive ingredient to put into ice cream. And so big companies don't want to do that because they want to make the cheapest product possible with the crappiest fake ingredients to make you think you're eating something better than you really are.
Yeah, but at Clementine's we got full-bodied creamed ice cream.
Everything. Full flavor, full fat. Like, our ice cream is not for people on a diet. However, I will tell you this. We are a better for you ice cream because it's so clean. And because the ingredients are so good for you, and because we have a high butterfat, it's actually super satiating. So you actually don't have to eat as much, and you can eat a couple of spoonfuls and or a small scoop and feel really satiated. So in essence, I would say that our ice cream is better for you than other ones because you get just as full and satiated on a smaller amount than you would with a lot of the cheaper ice creams that you have to eat a lot more of.
Yeah, but my problem is that when I went into a Clementine's, I had to try every flavor, so I ended up trying a lot more than what I should have, but I had no regrets.
But that is the 15-minute vacation that you and everyone lives for. And what we encourage when you come into our parlors, that's part of our organoleptic experience, is being able to try all these crazy flavors. You still may walk out with your gooey butter cake or your vanilla or your chocolate, but you get to go on vacation for 15 minutes and try all these amazing flavor combinations that evoke all kinds of images and places and foods and spices and feel like you've done something and that you've been on an adventure.
Yeah, what I've learned from Pique My Interest is that artists are storytellers. And that 15-minute vacation that you're talking about, that imagery in your mind, that smells that you get, that's your story that you're telling. And you're giving that person a little bit of an escape. And I just want to say thank you for pursuing that. But I want to know a little bit more about your background and your upbringing. Was there anything from your upbringing that turned you into a creator? I know your grandmother was somebody who you looked up to, but was there anything about your upbringing that turned you into an artist?
I don't know that I would say if there was any one thing. I think I grew up in an Irish-Italian family. So it was always about, the conversation in life was about food, wine, or sex, really, right? That's what makes the world go round if you really think about it. But I think, growing up and coming from humble beginnings, we didn't have a lot. And so when ice cream came into my life and changed my life and my sense of community, it was something that really stuck with me, that ice cream could change lives. And I think growing up with that notion, and we made ice cream after church on Sundays our whole life growing up. And then when my mom passed away, unfortunately, when I was 21, I kind of took that over in the family. I took that responsibility and that passion, and it really turned into a hobby for me, like this incredible, crazy hobby and passion. Some people golf, some people play chess. Like, I always made ice cream. And funny enough, then you grow up and I end up in the food industry because I love food. I love hospitality. I'm a chef. I'm a cook. I grew up with food is the center of my whole world, in every situation growing up. And ice cream being a part of that, was just this wonderful place to be. And then I end up in the food industry, right? I worked on the ingredient side of the business. So I was, I worked in proteins and emulsifiers and, very much on the science part of food. But through that, I did marketing, brand strategy, but I was trained as a master taster, dealing with sensory science panels, and I was trained in sensory, and then I was around all these food scientists, so you learn and pick up a lot. And so I had this incredible mix of background. And then I was recruited to work for a Fortune 100 company on the consumer packaged goods side of the business. So I already knew what they did to food, right, to make it better, faster, cheaper. And I was able to kind of translate all those things, having all that experience, being in food manufacturing plants, understand how they formulate foods, what they do to foods to make it last longer in a can or in a package or appear to be fresh, or all the dirty, dark secrets of the food industry, right? And so I kind of ended up in this food industry and running this $70 million business, and just kind of grew tired of making other people rich. And I just wanted to own my own life and take it back. And, I happened to have this love and passion, and I'd always made ice cream. So I had all this food experience. I've always made ice cream since I was a kid, and those things just kind of came together. And I said, you know what? Ice cream changed my life as a kid. It's going to change my life as an adult. I'm going to go start this little ice cream company.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Boom. And then Clementine's existed.
Mm-hmm. That was 10 years ago. I'm celebrating my 10-year anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
And before we get more into Clementine's, going back a little bit, you said that you worked in the food industry.
Mm-hmm.
What piqued your interest about ice cream rather than any other foods or other culinary categories?
Because my hobby and my passion was already making ice cream. It
was already in there.
I made ice cream my whole life. I did it for friends and for family, and that was my thing. I think I was the only, 30-year-old that had $1,000 Italian Musso ice cream maker sitting on my kitchen counter because I was passionate for it. Yeah. No different than gamers who have their, $1,000 gaming system. Mine just sat on my counter and made ice cream.
Amazing. And you've established Clementine's. How many stores how many parlors are there?
We have 8 parlors now and 3 more coming this year.
And expanding. To me, that's success. You've dropped your multi-million-dollar career, and now you've started the one thing that makes you happy. You've got 8 storefronts and growing. To me, that says success. Do you consider yourself successful? What is success in ice cream, and what really got you succeeding?
Am I successful? Yes, because I own my life and my destiny first and foremost, and that has nothing to do with money or anything else. It's the fact that I control my life.
Which is the reason why you left that big corporate job.
The reason why I left corporate America, right? So yes, I would say I'm successful. Some days are not successful, and other days are, of course. But in general, I do consider myself successful because I own my life, and I'm really happy. I get to make people happy every day.
Yeah.
Right? I do change people's lives, so with
Absolutely.
ice cream.
Yeah, and I think it's about time to get into it a little bit. How do you start your creation process? What makes good ice cream? What makes bad ice cream? How do you experiment? Is it a lot of research? Are you do you have flavor Bibles with you that kind of say these flavors go together, or do you come up with something in your mind going, I wonder what would happen if I do this, and then you try it out and then you just play?
Yes, 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 and yes. There you go. I think there's a lot of things. So, being the fact that we're a micro creamery, that to me is the way great ice cream is made. So if you're not making it that way, it's bad ice cream. Well, I don't know. Is there really any bad ice cream? There's frozen sweet, cheap cream and sugar, right? It's not great. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but I would argue actually there is bad ice cream out there. It's terrible. Right?
Well, it's easy to say when you own Clementine.
Well, that's true. But like before I owned Clementines, I was quite the connoisseur, and I wouldn't eat bad ice cream then either. But, yes. So, yes, there's good ice cream, and yes, there's bad ice cream. And feel free to send me a note if you're in a city, and I'll tell you who has great ice cream in that city, and I'll tell you who has bad ice cream in that city. Or no, I just will tell you who has great ice cream, and then by default, the ones I don't tell you, I probably didn't think were great. And I've been to almost, I think I've been over thousands of ice cream parlors
I bet.
In this journey.
Yeah.
So, and when I go to cities, I go to all of the top, or the ones that are considered the top. So I think my best was, I think I was in Boston, and I went to 18 ice cream shops in 3 days, and I ate nothing else but ice cream.
I will say New England does ice cream pretty well.
They do. And I got my favorites in Boston, that's for sure.
So while you're creating and making these flavor profiles, what is it that speaks to you? What makes you decide to go with a certain flavor combo?
I actually like to say that corporate America paid for my palate, because I had an unlimited expense account pretty much for 20 years, and I traveled all over the world. I lived all over the world. And so with that, I've been able to, you meet people and you try foods of all cultures and different ethnicities, introduce you to different things and different desserts and different savory dishes and lots of different foods. And I'm a big foodie, right? Mm-hmm. Like I'm a bona fide food lover. And I think I get inspired when I travel. I get inspired if I have a dish that somebody has made, or I hear about it, or I go into a really cool cocktail bar and I'm having a great cocktail, and I'm like, I get inspired. I'm like, oh, this would make a great ice cream, mm-hmm. right? Or I'm having a really, I was in Austin a couple months ago speaking at South by Southwest, and we walked into this like killer barbecue restaurant, and I had this really unique barbecue with these spices I'd never had in barbecue before. And as I'm sitting there like gnawing on this rib, I was like, oh my gosh, these spices would be really interesting in ice cream. Right? And so I always have ice cream on the brain. And so I just really take my inspiration from people that I meet, ideas that I'm interested in, a rabbit hole that I'll go down and think about, or when I'm traveling and I travel to a new country and I want to see what their sweets are, because, ice cream is this universally loved thing. And every country in the world has their own version of a frozen dessert. Whether you're in the bush in Africa or you are in the Nordic country, like some kind of frozen dessert exists everywhere in the world. And it's fascinating to find out what that is. What are those flavors? What does that taste like? What does it look like? Who makes it? What's the history of it? So I think also, too, just my motivation and being a lifelong learner, right, helps me and inspires me too.
Yeah, my next question was what gets your creative juices flowing and what inspires you, but you've just explained that, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But I want to know, was this exploration for flavors an early Clementine's dream, or did you really start with some basic flavors and really try and go from there?
I did not start with basic flavors because, basic flavors have been around forever, and I always consider myself creative and innovative, and I always like to do things just a little bit differently. And so when I really started Clementines is I wanted to make incredibly decadent, wonderful, unique ice creams that were not your traditional, typical. Yes. Do I have a vanilla in my parlors? Yes, but it's not vanilla. It is a Madagascar vanilla. And I tried every vanilla, every types of vanilla from everywhere in the world. And I decided on the flavor combination, what I wanted exactly to be for me, what resonated with me, and that I thought was the best and would resonate with my customers. And I went with that. So we do a Madagascar vanilla, right? So I always like to be a little bit different, a little bit decadent, a little bit elevated, definitely chef inspired and unique flavors, but not weird or gross.
Yeah.
Although I've done some of those too, which sometimes work and sometimes don't.
I think you were also talking earlier about like a series, if you wanted to have like a series of something. And
A collection.
Collection, yeah. That might inspire certain flavor profiles
Yeah.
and whatnot. I love the fact that you're going through that, and I think that transitions right into Veganuary. Is this every year that you do this?
Every year we do it. Every year.
Feel free, explain it.
Yeah, so like I said, we were the first ice cream company to even make vegan, non-dairy ice creams way over 10 years ago. It was not a thing. There were some soy alternative frozen desserts out there that tasted like ass, right? That were just disgusting. And one of my really close friends who had chose to be a vegan came to me and said, you know, the only thing that I miss in my life now that I've chosen to not to be a vegan is ice cream, because it was such a fundamental part of my childhood. She goes, if you can make a really good vegan ice cream, that would be amazing, because I'm going to raise my kids on this vegan lifestyle, and I'm so sad that they're not going to be able to participate.
Oh.
And I said, you got it. And so right away, I think my third flavor was a non-dairy, a vegan flavor that when I started creating ice creams for the business that I came up with. And they're really, really hard to formulate.
I'm sure.
Because you need enough fat in the product for it to actually taste like ice cream. There are a lot of non-dairy alternative vegan ice cream or plant-based ice creams, but they don't taste like ice cream.
Right.
They taste like oats or pea, or like there are other things out there, but they don't actually taste good. Or worse yet, you get some other frozen whipped topping dessert that they call Halo Top or something that's horrible and artificially flavored and ugh, right? Sorry, Halo Top people. I don't like it. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? But that's not ice cream, right? Mm-hmm. And so we've always focused on making these incredibly decadent. In fact, many customers come into our parlors and they don't even know that our flavors are vegan or non-dairy. Because it has the same mouthfeel, it has the same chew, it has the same creaminess, it has the same flavor as all the rest of the ice creams.
And then at the end of the month, what happens?
Oh, sorry. I got on my tangent with vegan non-dairy. So I started doing vegan ice creams a long time ago. Well, about 5, 6, 7 years ago, I came across this nonprofit organization that did this whole theme every January when people are trying to live a little bit healthier lifestyle that want to maybe give up dairy for the month. They called it Veganuary. And I was like, I love that. We're going to do that in ice cream. Nobody was doing it. I said, okay, let's do this. Let's because we were such a strong player and had a cult following for our vegan ice creams. I'm like, let's make it a month for the vegans, right? I'm going to do a takeover. So we always have 24 ice creams in our ice cream cabinets in the shops. And we always have 25% of them to be non-dairy. And I said, okay, in January, we're going to do a takeover. We're going to do 10 or 12. And so now every January, we do 10 or 12 non-dairy vegan ice creams. And we let the public come in and try them. The vegans love it. The non-dairy people, it's great. And then at the end of the month, the public gets to decide which is the best out of these 10 new flavors, and then we keep it all year in the parlors and make it available online so we can ship it all over the country on Goldbelly, etc.
I absolutely love that. I think that's one of the most creative aspects from your company is to be able to listen to the community and hear what they have to say. And Pique My Interest has a vote for Mounds of Coconut.
Okay,
that was my favorite.
That is a very, very popular one this month. That looks like that might. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I like Ozark Cabin too. That's
I tried that. It was just different.
It's very different.
Yeah,
it's very different.
And that also leads with your creativity into you have a whole naughty series. Mm-hmm. You're incorporating a little bit of booze in there. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Well, when I came out with the naughty ice creams, I really loved my cocktails and I really loved my ice cream. And it was a customer of mine that really asked and pushed us to look to see how we could do it. And then through my friends in the industry and some good science, we figured out and have a trade secret process for infusing the alcohol into the ice cream. And what's amazing about it is the alcohol really carries the flavor of the cocktails or the drinks or the wine or the beer. Now, you'd have to eat so much ice cream that you'd get far sicker off the lactose in the ice cream to get drunk. So that's not really an option. But we still don't sell it to anyone under 21 because if I had kids, I wouldn't want someone giving my kid boozy ice cream. But that's just it really how it evolved, and it's super fun. And I actually get, I wonder if I still have it up. I don't. Last month I got a thank you note from a mother who said, "Thank you so much for having your boozy ice cream. It's made my husband a better dad because he now wants to take the kids for ice cream every Sunday because he can get his maple bourbon." So, like, if I'm making families a little bit better too via the boozy ice cream, I'm down for that.
Fantastic. Speaking of all these amazing ideas that are just flowing, you've got all this inspiration. As an artist, we all run into a brick wall. How do you overcome a creative block?
I never have a creative block for ice cream. Because whether it's I'm inspired by like I probably have 200 flavors on a list that's just waiting to try to get made. Right? Like I don't. Or I come up with a new like collection, or there's a new cool movie, or when Serena Williams decided to retire, we came up with a really cool ice cream in her honor. So like I have endless amounts of ideas for ice cream. Now, not that they're all good, because some of them are bona fidely terrible, but we have lots to keep us busy for the next 20 years.
Yeah. Okay. So always inspired.
Always inspired.
And
sometimes too much inspired.
I was gonna say
I've done some pretty wacky ice creams over the years.
By the time you're probably sick of it, there's a new something out there that might inspire something new.
Yeah, I mean but the beauty of ice cream is that you love it and you never get tired of it. It's not like other things, you know, like donuts or like cupcake, like you only can eat so much, like, and then you're done. Mm-hmm. Like ice cream your whole life, like those other things come and go, right? Ice cream is forever, right? Like ice cream is, I don't know, it's magical in that way.
Well, it's kind of, you also mentioned this earlier, that ice cream really hasn't had much of a change in itself since Dippin' Dots.
Yeah, there's been zero innovation in ice cream since Dippin' Dots in the 60s and 70s, really.
Yeah.
So the fact that there is this, you know, this transformation happening, and, you know, there are those of us who are pushing that, right, to make a better, finer, more decadent product. It almost like we make the kind of ice cream that your grandparents used to make when they were kids that just isn't made anymore because the big food companies bastardize it so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you for pursuing that and following the dream.
I love my craft.
Through that, you've created a whole empire, if you will. You've created a full schedule for yourself. Do you have time for yourself? Do you have any hobbies? Do they complement or contradict your craft?
Wow, that's a loaded question. Do I have time for myself? Occasionally. But I also really believe that when you love what you do, you never work another day in your life. So I'm overscheduled and I'm super busy, and I have days that I'm exhausted and tired. And like I said, I've been in 7 cities in the last 9 days. But like, I love what I do. I love the power of ice cream. I love what it does for people and for community. Like, I really love what I do. So there is this blurred line between personal and professional work and not, where like, I'm just always going, but like I always love what I'm doing. So I don't know. I do work myself ragged occasionally, but now, you know, and it was different at different stages of the business. As you're, you know, in the beginning, you're grinding it out, you're hustling it, you're cranking it out every day. And as you get bigger, thankfully, you have more resources, you can hire more people to help you. Mm-hmm. So now, you know, now that I have a great, amazing team of people and a great company, you know, I can go on vacation now. I didn't take a vacation for 5 years, right? In the beginning. I didn't take a paycheck for 3, and I didn't take a vacation for 5. And I don't think I bought an article of clothing for maybe 6 or 7, right? Because all the money went back into the business. So So now I can do those things.
And again, what you've done for the community with not only your ice cream, but with your facilities as well. You've been able to hire more people and support those families as well.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. The fact that, we're this institution in St. Louis in the Midwest, because we're growing and expanding and we're getting ready to go regional, and that's exciting. But the more we grow, that's more jobs that we're creating here. And, I think it's really cool to have a business that is actually tangible, that you can see. It's not some idea in a cloud or a software. Like, you walk in and you see real people making real ice cream and real people delivering that and real people marketing that. And like it's a real business when you think of the American dream or whatever. Like, it's an actual, like, tangible thing.
And like you said, it's ice cream.
And it's ice cream.
How do you not take a lick and just put a smile on your face?
You don't. And ice cream is the most emotionally charged, or the most emotional food product there is. Right? Because when you think back to your first ice cream, it's with your family or your friend. Like, people are very emotionally attached to ice cream, like really no other food product, maybe except for coffee. Because you need it, because of the caffeine. But this, like, ice cream is like, people, it's really dear to their heart.
Well, I'm sure you could make a coffee-flavored ice cream.
Which we do.
I'm sure there are many different kinds as
There are.
And for a newcomer trying to get into ice cream making, what would be your advice? Is there any school or education in ice cream making? Or is it more of just go out, buy a kit, and experiment?
Well, I think there is some experimentation to be had. There are, if you're really serious about it, you can go to ice cream college. So Penn State has an amazing ice cream college course. It's kind of expensive, but you can go through it if you really want to learn the ins and outs of ice cream making and learn about refrigeration and freezers and like everything you can imagine if you think about the whole world of ice cream. So you can do those courses, and through the North American Ice Cream Association, they have lots of classes and different things for people who are considering if they want to go in the ice cream business or just want to make great ice cream. You could do that too.
And then moving a little bit past ice cream and more about artistry into a company, what would be your advice to somebody trying to make that leap of faith, the similar one that you took, to be able to leave your career and really pursue your art?
Be prepared to make every sacrifice you never thought you would make in order to do it. It costs twice as much, takes twice as long. I tell people all the time, unless you're willing to give up every creature comfort that you have and just focus on your art and your craft, don't do it. Because you won't succeed unless you're willing to sacrifice everything else for it, because you have to be completely devoted and focused on doing it. You can't be half in and half out. To really excel and be the best, right? There's a million ice cream makers in the world, but there are very few people who excel. Like, I do one thing and I focus and I do it better than anyone else. There's a million upholsterers or whatever your craft is, paintings or whatever. Like, you have to like fully focus and be devoted to it unconditionally if you really want to be the best at it and like truly excel. Yeah. That's what's going to set you apart from everybody else anyway.
And it's easy when you have a badass ice cream flavor profile like you do.
Well, but like, it also takes years of hustle and grind and grit and perseverance to get there, right? No one sees the years of like, I remember a time in the beginning when like I would invite myself to my friends' houses for dinner because I couldn't afford food, and all I ate was my ice cream in anyone's house that I went to eat at, because I had to put everything into my business, right? No one talks about the sacrifices that artists have to make for their craft, and it's real. The struggle is real, and you have to be willing to do that. If you're not willing to do that, yeah, you can do it as a hobby and have it do that, but you're never,
I would say you put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but that is not the latest flavor from clementines.
That is not the latest flavor of clementines, but, you got to be devoted to it for sure and have a love and passion for it.
Yes. And again, thank you for pursuing that and sharing your ice cream with the world. And I just want to know, Are there any misconceptions about your craft? Is there anything you want to clear up?
Yes, people think ice cream is very easy to do, and it's not. I think having an ice cream business, right? I think ice cream making at home is one thing that you can do and master or do in small, but it's a whole other thing to have a business and to run parlors, to manage people, to manage cash flow, and to make the product. So the actual physical process of making ice cream is physically laborious and very hard. You're lifting 50-pound buckets of dairy all day long, and you're dealing with the machine, and you're spinning it, and you're extracting it, and you're adding in stuff. I mean, as you saw on the floor, we have really tall, big, strong men who are making the ice cream because it's really physically tough.
As you said, it's handmade. They're all doing it by hand.
That's
There's no
right.
machines.
No, and it's tough. Like, it's not, I screwed up my back, and I've had major back surgery, and I screwed up my discs and whatever, because the first few years it was just me doing it, surviving on 3 hours of sleep, making ice cream for 10 hours a day, running the parlors 10 hours a day, and then trying to deliver and all the things. So I think that's a misconception. I think people think, oh, let me just open this little ice cream shop. It's going to be so easy and I'll just do, and it's not. It's actually really, really hard. It's actually probably harder because of also the seasonality of the business, the physical laboriousness of making the product. One single little restaurant or coffee shop is probably a lot easier than making and having an ice cream shop.
Wow. Never really thought about it that way. I mean, I knew that I was going to get an art lesson. I didn't think I was going to get a science lesson with this as well as the corporate. It's what you have done is quite an achievement. It makes it look easy. And I mean, coming here and seeing this whole facility and the kitchens that makes all the cookies that go into the ice cream and the freezers and the fridges, and we're in a separate building right now that has all the offices and the corporate side of things, and it's all I see is the parlor and the 24 ice creams that are right there, and I just get to try it, and that's it. And I get to go home and just talk about clementines, but you get to see the whole backstage world, and it's, again, this is all just because of that leap of faith that you took. So again, thank you for that. Do you have any funny or interesting stories off the top of your head that revolve around your ice cream?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I can't think of any like at the moment, other than the fact that like I forever smell like sweet dairy. So even after I get out of the shower, I still smell like a sweet dairy cow. I don't know. That's funny. Maybe not a funny story, but another like why or when you think about ice cream. And so I love to share this story because it is so powerful and it like gets me and chokes me up every time. But the beauty of ice cream is that you never know who's going to walk into your parlor and why they're there. And when I talked about ice cream being this emotional thing for people, I got a Facebook message one day, this was a couple years ago now, from a gentleman who, it was like really long, like 7 paragraphs. And basically he said, Tamara, I'm sitting here in your Clayton parlor, and he said, I have to thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for making this ice cream. I'm sitting here in your parlor and I'm crying and I'm sad because my mom died yesterday, and there's no place I'd rather be than in your parlor, because as she was going through chemo and her fight, she couldn't eat food, but she could have your ice cream and she loved it. And every day we'd come in, or every few days, and whenever she felt good enough, we would come in and we'd get a scoop of your strawberry with balsamic and white pepper, or your Madagascar and vanilla, and we would sit here and eat that. And I have those memories with her forever. And so he's describing this story to me, and he's expressing his heart, and it all in this Facebook message, and thanking me for providing this place and this opportunity and this product, because he now has these memories with his mother for the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's my why. Right. And so you never know when you come in, that person who's sitting at the table next to you or is standing next to you in line, what their reason is for being there, or what it means, or that sense of community, or those memories that it's creating for each other. And so the power of ice cream is real for people. And that's what makes it magical for me.
Thank you for that story. I do think that there is a deep human connection to art. There's a deep human connection to food. And we're not even going to talk about ice cream. And the fact that what you've done to combine those in your way, in your artistry, to bring that together, to open people up, to accept that within themselves and their families and their loved ones. Again, I just can't thank you enough.
My pleasure.
What's next for the world of clementines? Are we going to see any more competitions? I know you've entered into a few competitions and swept the floor.
Yep. Absolutely. We're getting ready to go regional, right? We want to expand in the Midwest and ultimately someday go national. So that's our goal, because I think the world needs clementines, ice cream in it. And we're always entering the competitions and trying to refine and hone our craft as much as we can. And that's the fun stuff. That's the validation for the team of people who make the ice cream, right?
Mm-hmm. And what's next for you personally?
Take clementines to the next level. Yeah, I'm doing a capital raise right now so that we can go regional, and I've never done that before. And so that's a whole new world that I'm entering and learning about. But it's keep growing. As long as clementines is growing and I'm growing, life is good.
And again, if you're in the St. Louis area, there are 8 different parlors that you can check out, expanding a little bit more in the Midwest, as well as, if you're interested not in the Midwest, you do mail.
Yes, we ship ice cream via Goldbelly all over the country. Available on our website.
If you want to have a little bit of that taste, please order some. It's the most delicious ice cream I've had. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Make it a delicious day.
Make it a delicious day. I can't thank you enough for joining me and piquing my interest. I like to end with one last question. If you could excel at any other craft other than your own, what would you like to do?
I think I would like to learn how to sculpt. I think I'd like using my hands, and I like creating things with my hands and kind of visualizing different things. So I think maybe I would like to be a sculptor. Sculptor.
Maybe we'll get some sculptures in some parlors one day.
Maybe
you could do some ice cream sculptures.
Maybe, like my little ice cream found object.
Did you make this?
I did not make this.
Okay.
I found it. There was a very talented woman at an art fair that made it, but isn't that amazing? Yeah. Just from things around your house. Talent.
Again, I can't thank you enough. And thank you to all my peekers out there. Please let me know if you know of any special or unique artists or art forms you think I should explore. I'm currently in St. Louis, Missouri, and can't wait to see where Pique My Interest takes me next. Remember, creativity comes from the heart. Push yourself. Be kind to each other. I'm Scoop Decker, and thank you for helping me pique my interest.